The afternoon sun beat down on Sarah's back. Boredom gnawed at her. Suddenly, a glint of something shiny caught her eye from the bushes bordering the woods. Curiosity piqued, Sarah pushed through the overgrown branches. There, nestled between two moss-covered boulders, was an opening. The glinting light came from something metallic, half buried in the dirt just outside the entrance. Sarah brushed away the dirt, revealing a tarnished silver locket. Inside, a faded picture revealed two young girls, their arms linked, grinning brightly. Drawn by an invisible force, Sarah found herself inching closer to the cave entrance. The air grew noticeably cooler, sending a shiver down her spine. Taking a deep breath, Sarah entered the cave. The darkness inside the cave was absolute. Sarah fumbled in her pocket for her phone, using it as a makeshift flashlight. The weak beam illuminated only a few feet ahead. The air hung heavy and damp, thick with the smell of mildew. Sarah took cautious steps forward, her heart pounding. The locket felt heavy in her hand, its smooth surface strangely comforting. As she moved deeper into the cave, the silence pressed in on her. The cave twisted and turned, a labyrinthine path leading deeper underground. Sarah tried to keep track of the turns she made, marking her path by scratching arrows on the cave walls with a sharp rock. As she rounded a bend, Sarah's phone flickered and died. She gasped, plunging into utter darkness. Panic welled up inside her. Terror tightened its grip on Sarah's throat. She fumbled for her phone again, even though she knew it was useless. It was truly dark now, a darkness so complete it felt like a physical presence. She stumbled blindly, her hands outstretched, feeling along the rough cave walls. Panic turned to despair. She was lost, hopelessly lost. Tears welled up in her eyes. The locket dug into her palm, a painful reminder of her own curiosity. A low rumble echoed through the cave, seeming to come from deep within the earth. Sarah froze, her breath catching in her throat. Fear propelled her forward, her arms flailing as she ran blindly through the darkness. The rumble grew louder, vibrating through the cave floor. The rumbling subsided, replaced by an eerie silence. Sarah lay huddled on the cold, damp ground, her body trembling uncontrollably. She listened intently, every nerve ending on high alert. A faint whisper reached her ears, so soft she thought she had imagined it. It seemed to come from all around her, a disembodied murmur slithering through the darkness. She held her breath, straining to hear. There it was again, a whisper, a sigh, a rustling sound just beyond the reach of her senses. Her heart pounded against her ribs. She was no longer alone. Someone, or something, was with her in the darkness. The whispers reached a crescendo, then abruptly stopped. Sarah slowly opened her eyes, her gaze darting around the cave. At first she saw nothing. Then in the distance a faint light flickered. It pulsed softly, like the glow of fireflies on a summer night. As her eyes adjusted, she realized it wasn't a single light, but many. Dozens of tiny points of light hovered in the darkness, bobbing gently like lanterns. Figures began to coalesce within the light, their forms shimmering and translucent. They were children, their faces pale and drawn, their eyes wide and filled with a haunting sadness. They surrounded her, their eyes fixed on her with an unnerving intensity. The ghostly children floated closer, their forms shifting and wavering in the dim light. Sarah shrank back against the cave wall, her heart pounding in her chest. Their eyes, filled with a profound sadness, seemed to pierce through her. One of the children, a girl with long dark hair and a torn white dress, drifted closer. "Why are you here?" she asked, her voice filled with a haunting sorrow. Sarah tried to speak, but no words came out. The other children moved closer, their forms pressing in on her. "We were playing," another ghost whispered. A young boy with sad, hollow eyes. The other children began to wail, their mournful cries echoing through the darkness. As the children's cries reached a fever pitch, Sarah felt a surge of adrenaline. This was her chance. She scrambled to her feet, ignoring the throbbing pain in her ankle. The locket slipped from her grasp, falling to the cave floor with a dull thud. She didn't dare stop to retrieve it. The ghosts seemed not to notice her movement. They were lost in their own world of sorrow and despair. Sarah saw an opening, a narrow passageway between two of the shimmering figures. She lunged for it, her heart pounding in her chest. She squeezed through the tight space, scraping her arms on the rough rock. Finally, she saw a faint light ahead, a glimmer of hope in the suffocating darkness. With a final burst of energy, she stumbled out of the cave and into the cool night air.